Alrighty, let me pop up the Twitch just to verify.
Skip-a-bop-a-da. Skid-a-da-da-ba-doo.
Skadabadababee-bop-bop-bop-bop.
Dee-da-bam-bam-ba-dum.
Oh, okay. Are we up? Yep, looks like we're good. Okay, cool.
But yeah, let me close the door. We don't have problems later. Alright, I'm going to give us a really cold intro for the podcast listeners. Then do the actual intro.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
Now.
Is it that cold in St. Louis, Commandership? Is it so much so that I have to bring a cold intro? Yes. Actually, the reason it's on my head right now is because there's
got a head cold.
Well, yeah, that too. You can probably hear it a little bit. There's a thing called wind chill, and if you dress for how cold it is, but not for how cold it's going to be on said bike, yeah. So Kenny made a dumb mistake.
Did you wash your hair and then go for a bike ride or something?
Oh yeah. Oof. I messed everything up today. So I washed my hair so I could go to my barber. Because I want you have to let it dry out a little bit, but I still wanted kind of like going with clean hair to my barber. So
Done goofed.
So it was cold going there in the morning, and then I left work in the afternoon, and it was even worse than it had been early in the day. And I'm like, so yeah, this is not coming off. I hope I get hot enough to have to take it off, but that is currently not happening. All right, so we need an intro. Coming up on the show, we'll discuss why Nintendo fans might be slightly right to be upset about the Nintendo Online service price hike. Plus, we'll tell you where you might be able to get a PS5 or Xbox Series X this week. Also, apparently, if you talk long enough in Destiny 2, you can hold an NPC hostage. Not saying that's a good thing, but And finally, we'll tell you why an Apple VR headset sounds good in theory, but would actually be terrible for gaming. All that and more starting now on State of the Nerd Union. With a brief pause.
Bow, 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 bow.
That beautiful theme music that our audio podcast listeners will get to enjoy. Although, hey, they just added audio support to this browser app. Finally. Something that I could do on Streamlabs a while back, but no one could hear it.
Nice.
I swear.
Cool. Time to hit up. What's the fella's name? Kevin MacLeod. All that free use public music, open source, whatever. For
sure. So hey everyone, this is Commandership, and this is State of the Nerd Union as we kick off another month this Monday, November 1st. Yes, nerds, November is officially here, and the spooky season is leaving us, although I'll ask my wonderful co-host, Grandmaster Fro, if Mariah Carey will be haunting our dreams soon, is spooky season truly over?
I mean, that was already happening, so... Spooky season was over at the stroke of midnight, and we immediately skipped. It's now in the holiday season, with a brief respite for a bite of a turkey leg, followed immediately by discounts and heavy capitalism. So
heavy capitalism.
Yeah, I don't even know why they call Black Friday Black Friday. They just call it heavy capitalism. And Cyber Monday, heavier capitalism, or robo capitalism. There you go.
Digital capitalism.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh man. So, folks, this is State of Nerd Union. This is our flagship Monday program to talk about all the nerd news from the weekend, and we got a lot of gaming. That's
it is a good week to own video games and be alive in 2021.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
But before we get into gaming, we got some quick hits.
We got some quick hits. And we got folks active in the chat tonight. Thank you for joining us. A nice cup of tea. And Taryn Bell, as always, host of the Rundown on Fridays. So good to see you all here. So,
Nice Cup of Tea did point out it is still Dia de los Muertos. So it's it is not officially Mariah Carey season / bite a turkey leg day. Or bite a turkey leg moment.
You know what? That's low-key kind of messed up that we skipped that. And we're just like, hey, Mariah Carey comes... Okay.
True.
Probably,
I feel like it's more high-key kind of messed up.
Yes, sir. Yes, you are correct. All right, here we go. Our quick hits. So this will make Steve happy, as he's an ardent Venom fan. Mm-hmm. But Venom, Let There Be Carnage has surpassed Black Widow's... so Venom made 184 over this past weekend. Black Widow's total for the U.S. box office was 181. So that tops the U.S. box office for 2021. And just has been a really solid release here. Even Dune can't claim that right now for the couple weeks that it's been out. And honestly, I don't know if I like Dune, but I don't know if it will be able to match that. Plus the runtime, as much as and I have to admit, I picked on the runtime for Venom 2, but when you have a shorter runtime, you can get more screenings in. Mm-hmm. And for a pandemic theaters, that might also make people more comfortable, because that might have meant that even though some screenings might have been lower attended, you can
get more of them in.
You can get more of them in, more people are spaced out. So it might have been the perfect kind of release strategy in this time period. So kudos to that team. Kudos to Andy Serkis, Tom Hardy.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I enjoyed Doom. I saw it twice. I didn't necessarily need to see it twice. But I saw it the second time for the culture, because there were other people who hadn't seen it. I also took a nap. I already saw it. I saw it 2 times.
But that's what... No.
Wake me up when stuff starts blowing up. I'm like, we're here. Okay, cool.
Goodness. Later this week, I'm going to have an article out about Dune that hopefully will encapsulate the problems that are propping up, because there's some cultural issues. I don't think people are wrong. I want to separate what I enjoyed about it from, but these are legitimate issues that we need to talk about, like the fat shaming trope, and not fat shaming.
It's not. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
It's using fatness as a villainy. And also, shout out to Apostle Orlando Bethel. Oh, gosh. Wow. I will hopefully shift over to Twitch and repent or burn in the flames of hell. Wow. We haven't gotten...
How are you? On a scale of 1 to good? No, pretty good, yo.
Would the flames of hell warm me up right now?
Yeah, he's got a head cold, so it's where it's at. And I tend to run hot, so I guess I'm used to it.
Gosh.
So all in all, pretty good.
All in all, pretty good.
But there's a couple of issues with Dune. 40 years ago, America probably wasn't quite as tired of the whole white saviorism thing of like, a person's gonna come from off-world and like dunk on everybody and save our people or whatever. I'm like, 40 years ago, it's probably a much more tolerated, played out trope. But now it's just a less tolerated, played out trope. And it's alright. It's okay. As somebody who hasn't consumed any Doom media, it's interesting to see all the ways that Dune has influenced science fiction culture since it came out. But when you're doing a remake, I've heard that like there's a lot of things about Dune that this does really well that are true to the series, and alongside that, you get to see all of the, you know, ideas that were cool, new, and innovative probably when it came out 35, 40 years ago that like now have since been so expounded upon that like, you know, it's just not that crazy anymore. So that's interesting, but you know, just
But,
other little footnotes.
But Variety's got a, and I apologize, I don't remember the author's name. I'm going to credit them when I write mine. They brought up a fantastic point, and I didn't want to derail us. I know it's supposed to be quick hits, so I'll say it super quick, and then we can, hopefully me and Tom can talk about it or read it later this week. But they brought up this really cool point of, or sorry, I'm making this point, but so they made the point
they influenced you,
yeah, but they made the point of, it's odd that there's so much Islamic references, which when you read the original book, Herbert definitely is using, he's pulling from a lot of places around, about West Asia and West Asia, South Asia, North Africa, Middle East area. It is a hodgepodge, but there's definitely, you can tell where the bias is. Like it's mostly Middle East, mostly North Africa. But they brought up an interesting point is that while the movie is trying to make this shift towards more of a criticism to the white savior, it's still a white savior problem, but it is making more of a criticism than most films had before. But it's odd then that you didn't cast folks from the Middle East, Middle Eastern actors, North African actors to then fulfill those roles so that criticism could be more pronounced. So it's odd that you go in one direction, but then you don't really, it's like it's
a half realized idea.
Yeah.
It's like we want to present this idea as a thought, as a concept, but also like, you know, we got. I'm just gonna hire this person. It's like, you know, taking out the like Home Depot like painter's color wheel. It's like, yeah, you're brown enough. Yeah, come on over. It's like, oh, like hold on, let me see. It's like, okay, yep, okay, cool, yep, cool. Here's how you pronounce these things. Good to go.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. Like diversity through a capitalistic lens. It's not that it can't work. But if you don't really think about what you're doing, you'll end up in things like this, where it's like it feels better, but then it's like once you sit back and look on it a little bit more, you're like, wait a minute. And to a lot of people's credit, they're picking it up from the first get go. It's like the same reason I'm like looking at the new West Side Story or watch In the Heights, and I'm like, this something doesn't feel right about this. A nice cup of tea brings up a great point today. I've been having this Dune conversation since it came out. It's interesting. There's a contingent of people who can't just sit with the fact that it's inherently problematic in some ways. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah.
It's weird that people like can't sit with that, because like honestly, like that after 2010, like you have to become hyper aware of like whenever you recommend anything to anybody that's like older than 45 minutes, like you're kind of like, it's like, oh man, you should watch this science fiction film, it's really good. Wait a minute, so like is this super racist? Was there a super racist part of this that I just like completely overlooked because I was X number of years old, and you know, during that time, like me and my partner had the conversation of like, you know, there's a lot of problematic stuff where they're like all the people who die like on screen in ways that they show in more gratuitous violent ways. Also, this is definitely not a quick hit. We'll get back to it. And in more gratuitous violent ways are all like minority people, whereas like for anyone who is a non-POC, it's kind of like a quick thing of like, all right, yeah, you get it. All right, moving along. And it was something that like she had a more of a problem with than I did, and I was like, well, and I realized like about like a day or so later, because I was going back and forth, and I'm like, oh yeah, like for me, it's like that's every science fiction, or this is all of cinema ever since I've been alive. So at some point, you're like, I'm either not gonna watch movies, or I'm gonna have to be able to look past this.
Yeah.
It was like for the longest time, it was there was two black people in the movie. They were probably both men. One was probably there to die, and the other person was Magic Negro, who would later die.
Gosh, that's a Yeah, we got to stop because
But that's the quick hit. Let's move on.
That's the quick hit. We'll be here. No, because I was going to say that will get me into issues of Battlestar and Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah.
As much as I love those franchises, there's things that.
And I enjoyed them both too. But you're absolutely right. So speaking of transitional segues, large PS5 and Xbox Series S restocks are happening this week. We got it at Walmart, GameStop, Best Buy, Amazon, which haven't officially given any indications that they're going to restock. But every tip says that you just keep watching their sites for updates.
Yeah. So eagle-eyed employees at these various companies have been leaking that there's been retailers effectively trying to stock up either for Black Friday or the pre-Black Friday sales and things like that, so they can actually have some to release, whether that be physically in the store or online. So again, that's why we don't have an official, yes, we will have PS5, Xbox Series. This is coming through the back channels. As always, I stomp so hard for Twitter user Wario65. If you are not following him and you've been trying to get one of these consoles, I promise you, follow him. And even if you weren't going to try to get one of these consoles, he has deals and coupons and discount. Like he's on top of it. He's better than some of the. He's honestly a lot better than some of the algorithms just trying to like pull discount information. Although I'm not saying you shouldn't use those either. But if you want someone that's put together the context of like. He just announced a day or two, or today actually, that there's new Nintendo bundles for the older, longer battery life Nintendo Switch. That's not the OLED, so it's not the OLED. But if you find just getting a Nintendo Switch, and it's that V2 Nintendo, it's got something like the Mario Mario Kart 8 packaged in it. Like that's coming out this week.
Also, like get that Mario Kart slaps. Get that.
Yeah. So I highly recommend him, and there's just a really great community surrounding that Twitter user. So it's really good scoop as well. Oh, nice couple pieces. What was the Twitter's user? Wario64. Like Mario, but it's his. But evil Mario. Or just how about just mischievous?
No, he's reverse Mario. He's not evil. But cool. Kenny, let's go into challenge mode.
Challenge.
We've dilly dallied quite hard, but we have a lot of game news. Let's put 20 minutes on the game clock, and let's try to get through not only for the Cinephiles, which I'll admit the fans don't know how long the notes for that section is, but also game time at the same within that time frame.
All right, let me do one of those Henry Cavill, like recharge your arms. All right,
here we go.
I wish this would be great if I actually had a timer. And what's funny is I had a timer on Streamlabs, but I don't have a timer on here. But
I got it.
We're gonna make it work. All right, you're gonna put a timer up. I've got the photos up. So, folks, yes, 20 minutes. Oh man, Benny Hill music would be perfect here.
That would have been perfect. Bam, let's go.
All right. So, the Marvel Studios Legends series on Disney Plus will be adding a Hawkeye series on Disney Plus coming November 12th, which will be about give or take 2 weeks before the Hawkeye Disney Plus series comes out. So this has been a running series since WandaVision. That gives you little breakdowns and different characters. So they did one for Wanda, they did one for Vision. They've done it for different characters in the MCU, and usually preceding their upcoming show. So really cool to see this one for Hawkeye. No word yet if that will include any of the side characters coming up in the Hawkeye Disney Plus series, but be really excited about that. And that is all we have for the Cinephiles. If you want more movie news, definitely go check us out tomorrow night on Tuesdays with the Commander Ship Show with me and Major Tom. So that is same time as this show, 8 p.m. Central. Moving on.
Hey, it is game time.
That photo, I really should have blown that up. I apologize, folks. Is Warner Brothers doing a multiverse game? I don't know.
It looks like the answer is maybe.
You know, I hate that photo. I'm just gonna hide it.
Yeah,
it's just trash.
So a leaked photo came out that shows a possible roster, including characters like Bugs Bunny, Rick Sanchez, DC Hero, Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, as well as Gandalf and who else? Shaggy from Scooby Doo, Finn and Jake from Adventure Time, and Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry. Yeah. It's said that it's going to be playing like a Super Smash Bros. Game. I don't know that for sure because it's just a screenshot. Like, I don't know how people are even making that assumption. I think just because it's a mixed up characters and stuff.
Probably. I assume that they're thinking it's like Nickelodeon Splash or whatever that game was, or the PlayStation one, which was just like, yo, let's just make a game like Smash and just throw in a hodgepodge of characters. Let's do it. And if they decide to go for it, I'm like, hell yeah, that sounds bonkers. Like, that's when I think of video game, like, it's like that kind of bonkers stuff that I like. That's like classic Mortal Kombat style of like, I'm gonna take some ninjas, a movie star, like a wizard, a cop, and they're just gonna fight each other.
Yeah. A nice cup of tea says, "Did you say Gandalf?" Yes, we did.
Indeed, we did.
How the power scaling is gonna work on that? I'm just curious to see how him and Soups go up against each other, but all right. Did you know?
Here we go. You take that
one. That Timothée Chalamet, who's who had quite the month in October with The French Dispatch and Dune, used to mod Xbox controllers. So not Variety, but Vice heard about it through the grapevine. Users would send them these videos there's free videos on YouTube from the old modded Xbox controller account, which is also his Xbox handle, and modded controller 360, and never showed his face, but they said it sounded like Chalamet, and he has since come out and confirmed that it was indeed his videos on YouTube. So really it was just showing how he either repair and or mod the controllers with different paint schemes and so on and so forth. But apparently the authorities, ergo his parents, got involved, saying, "You're getting paint everywhere, so yeah, you're not doing this anymore." Apparently made $30 on it, and then got busy with more acting gigs. So
I would say it was probably a reasonable shift.
For sure.
It worked out for him pretty well.
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Here we go. Roblox, the popular, definitely not Minecraft clone, went down. The free-to-play service that lets users create games from simple design tools suffered an outage this week, as NPR reports, that affected all users and lasted for multiple days. Roblox said that the issue was not due to an external intrusion, but gave no details as to why the problem occurred. I would wager for, probably, I don't know if they're publicly traded or not, or anything like that, or have investors, but it was probably just they pushed out some bug that messed everything up, and they just like, oops, no reason to talk about this.
Yeah, that sounds.
It's my guess.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But I know lots of kids love Roblox. I don't know why you play Roblox when you got Minecraft, but there's different mods and stuff like that. And to be honest, the modding community for Roblox is also pretty robust as well as Minecraft. I don't play it myself, but I've seen some of the stuff that they do, and I'm like, I don't think that's in the base game. But speaking of going down, Fortnite is going down in China. As you may recall, a few weeks ago, we reported that China is cracking down on youth playtime for video games, reducing it down to 3 hours total a week, with 1 hour on Friday, 1 hour on Saturday, and 1 hour on Sunday. And that hours goes up to, I believe, 3 hours for holidays. Not a lot. Basically, likely due to that crackdown on youth gaming activity, Epic's Fortnite will close down their servers on November 15th. So that is coming, real quick down the pipe, because this is a thing that, game developers and publishers have to adhere to, like, quick, fast, and in a hurry. Like, it's not like, oh yeah, by 2025, these are the rules you need to play by. Like, nah, China said, like, this is the way it is. You need to implement software improvements to verify that kids aren't playing more than an hour. And, like, as a developer, like who has a whole bunch of people who are probably really, really good at making video games and not really good at making facial recognition software. Like as a developer, I'd be like, yo, fuck that, I'm out of here. So I understand. I don't understand why China would do this to their gaming market, given how big it is and how big of a slice of the pie that they have. But it's for the betterment of the youths of the Chinese population.
I guess where they're not getting a lot of money from it, though, like they are making a lot of money from the Chinese populace. Mm-hmm. But that still means those games are not necessarily as Chinese game success doesn't translate really outside of China. So something else could come into it and do well. A Chinese game inside of their market could do well, but they're just not really. Whereas there's other Chinese exports that are doing really well. So I think that might be the calculus of we think our children can do better if they don't have this, not spending as much time on the games. Maybe they feel like their metrics they're doing, having seen a lot of issues with it. And I don't know. I guess so. There's probably some country pride in seeing their children do better than other countries' children. That's a really dubious.
The reason they gave was that it was that young people were spending more and more time, playtime in front of screens playing games, and they wanted to provide an opportunity or force an opportunity for them to engage more with their family. The skeptic in me says that time spent playing games is not time consuming propaganda. So that's a major component.
Yeah.
And also, it's also another means of you can't control the things that people tell kids online in an online game because they can reach out to, people across the world and exchange ideas. And, as the Chinese government, you don't want any of that happening. So it's another means of control. But
one technical note, this particular server was, there was already a lot of modifications, like skulls couldn't be shown in the game. Certain characters weren't allowed there. And it was very much a closed server system for this Fortnite server in China.
Okay.
Which also is not surprising to base exactly on what you said, is that they already were closing off a lot of games and they had to be basically closed sandboxes inside of China. Cool.
All right, moving in. DRG, as you may know, 1, I have every achievement in Deep Rock Galactic. 2, I love Deep Rock Galactic. And 3, we have big updates coming out for DRG. One of their major updates that they've been working on for a long, long time, Rival Incursion, comes out November 4th, which is just 3 days from now. The newest update includes a new mission type with new enemies, 4 new weapons for every character, which has been long touted as one of the main things that's coming out with this one. Everything else is more or less secretive until this most recent update that came out, I believe, yesterday or the day before. They're moving over to themed seasons so they can give more flair and substance, and I guess like lore, theme type stuff to their updates. Prior to this, they've just been like, here's a big update, number 35, here's a big update, number 36, etc., etc. Now they're implementing something that's called a performance pass, which is their version of how other games have a battle pass or something like that, which is free. But there's 100 levels worth of unlockables, skins, and gun cosmetics, and beards, and hats, and so forth that are all coming out.
Beards and hats.
Rocket Stone. In addition to a new cosmetic DLC, Rival Tech Pack, which will be coming out, that includes a bunch of skins themed to the new Rival company, which will be coming to the Deep Rock Galactic planet, world, universe, on the 4th. So, cool stuff there.
Nice.
You want to take the next one?
Oh, yeah. See when I can get back to the... There we go. All right. Probably surprising no one. There's another delay to Cyberpunk 2077 updates for next-gen games, along with Witcher Free updates, if you're still playing in that game. Although, that's not I don't mean as a slight to Witcher Free. Witcher Free is very, very...
I'm going to go back and play Witcher 3 very soon, so that's good.
Yeah. But in all honesty, I'm fine with this. I'd rather them take some more time, make sure those next gen upgrades and the updates they want to push for that are done well, as opposed to the issues that have widely we've reported here on this channel, the issues that have happened there. So glad that they'll take the time to make sure that gets right. But yes, so there'll be no more updates for this year, and they'll come out in 2022. Although the word is that it may be early, so it could be as early as like that first quarter of 2022. They just really don't want to do any more in this last quarter of the year. All right.
Definitely. That's what lost train of thought. That's something. CD Projekt Red. Blah blah blah. Updates. Wait.
All right. How are we doing on time?
We are at. I think we're just at 10 minutes. We're doing good.
Great.
8 minutes left.
8 minutes. All right. So we can do this. For those that just came in, we're trying to do it in 20 minutes. Our gaming section. We'll see if we can do it. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas last week got announced as an upcoming VR title for the Oculus during Facebook, now Meta. I don't even want to say that. During their virtual Connect event. But they didn't really show anything. One, apparently this has been in works for the longest time. And is not even nearly the same as the Resident Evil 4 announcement when we actually got to see some gameplay of that playing in Oculus, which was really cool.
Looks like it slaps.
Yeah, it's... Sorry, that was way too excited for it. But it's... Yeah. Hey, I know it's another Resident Evil 4 port, but I don't care. It's really good.
Yeah, it's a good game.
And San Andreas is a great game.
It is also a good game, but like also... I kind of sort of don't super trust Rockstar to be like, yeah, it's upgraded and it looks great and it looks new, and I'm like, does it though? Because they did the same thing. Like, oh, we're coming up with a new GTA 5 again after like 10 years, and it's like it's new and improved, but it's not really.
Yeah, they had the audacity to announce GTA 5 as the next
GTA 5 2.
Oh my gosh!
But speaking of Resident Evil, we got Resident Evil Village DLC news. And Resident Evil 3's remake surpasses the original sales numbers. So lost in a sea of words in a Capcom annual report, there's details about an upcoming Resident Evil Village, which is Resident Evil 8, I believe, DLC release, but no word on what necessarily that could entail. In addition, despite Resident Evil 3 being super short in comparison to the original game, it did not affect the sales of the remake, as the Resident Evil 3 remake sold 3.9 million copies, whereas the original sold 3.5 back in 1999. So that's some great news for that team and for Capcom.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm really curious what the Village DLC would be. I'd be down to check it out, but. And I have
no idea. Like, it seemed like maybe I guess there's like another character they could add, because it seems. I mean, if you play the game, like they wrap it up pretty well. They do a good job wrapping it up.
Yeah. So if it's another mission, it sounds cool, and that'd be really great. But if there was some cosmetic stuff, I'd be like, what?
It's basically the it adds like all the Dead Rising costumes to the game. You can play as Frank West, and you put a server-bot head on and like a Mega Buster.
It could also be for the Ops. I forget what the name of it is now.
Oh yeah, that extra mode. I know what you're talking about. That thing.
Yeah, so it could definitely be for that as well. So I immediately was thinking about Ethan, but yeah, it could definitely be for the Ops mode. Cool.
Oh yeah, you want to take you mentioned this one before the show, so I'll let you take this. The Destiny one.
Yeah, one sec. Maybe. Come back. Ready to go. All right, so Destiny players are aware. Fridays, Xur come on out somewhere in the galaxy, and you can find them, get gear and drops, get some rare drops, and the last month he's been dropping some legendary drops.
It's been dropping it like it's hot.
Dropping it like it's hot. And there's a particular cannon that he was dropping this weekend that led... now there's a little bit of debate about... Or not debate, but it was kind of unclear to see who started it. Although you can follow the Reddit thread to see how people were communicating to like keep him there. So during server refreshes, if you can keep an NPC engaged effectively for either dialogue, conversating, or trying to communicate with that NPC, you could effectively hold them there even though their server refreshes. They were able to keep Xur there the entire weekend. Some up to 240 different players participated in holding this NPC hostage effectively. That may sound like strong language, but hey, folks, just because they're an NPC doesn't mean that they don't have things to do and they don't exist in the...
Doesn't mean he has places to go. That man wanted to eat food. He might have left his stove on before he left the house.
He might have a family. Goodness.
Or maybe he just walks behind that rock and then just gets de-rezzed functionally.
Yeah, maybe he just goes back to the disembodied void.
They just move his character model under the ground so you just can't get to him.
Yeah. But this is not the first time the Destiny players have pulled something like this off. And Bungie, being ever so gracious as they are, sometimes will also drop the same item that might have been very alluring to us as Destiny players back to the field. So would not be surprised if you see that cannon drop back out at some point. Captain Daniel Sans completely forgot the commander ship played Destiny 2. Hey, I was playing this past weekend. But yeah, my bad.
Nice cup of tea said NPC autonomy now.
See, this is why when the robot uprising happens, they'll look back at moments like this.
We'll get killed last.
Yeah. Captain Danielson, I'll apologize to you more about Destiny in a moment because we're almost. Wait, are we done with the game?
We got 2 minutes. We got 2 minutes.
We got 2 minutes, and we gotta do 2 more.
Gotta go fast. Sega's alliance with Microsoft. So while no meaningful titles were announced, the alliance focused heavily on using Microsoft Azure as a way forward. That's a little typo. As a way forward with global scalability. For those who aren't familiar, Azure is Microsoft's cloud service, so this could be an indication of more Sega exclusive games coming onto the Azure platform, and it furthers their semi-exclusive alliance that started back on the Xbox and has continued to this day.
Yeah,
semi-exclusive.
If you remember, like Sega GT Online, Sega GT 20, and Jet Set Radio, like all those started getting dropped on the Xbox, and then a bunch of Dreamcast games got ported to the original Xbox, and ever since then, Xbox has been kind of that Sega home. Although it's not exclusive because they still develop things for other consoles. What was the last one?
You take it.
Last one. Nintendo shutters a few remote offices, so Nintendo will be closing 2 North American satellite offices, one in Toronto and one in the San Francisco Bay Area, consolidating those operations to their North American headquarters in Redmond, Washington, and Vancouver, British Columbia, in Canada. No word on exactly what's driving that, but a lot of it may have to do a lot more with remote work and just not needing to like reopen those offices because a lot of those people haven't been in the office regardless. But we don't know necessarily about positions, so we don't know if those positions have been eliminated or if they've been completely consolidated. So again, they've said they've been consolidated, but apparently there was some uproar and some like pushback on those closings happening as the announcements went out to the Nintendo employees based there. Time!
Hey, we did it with 8 seconds to spare.
What?
Nice. Pop. Speed run. Any percent news speed run. Hey, there we go.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
I'm proud of us.
Good, nice job. Nice job.
If Jerry had been here, though, 3 Negroes trying to go for the news. Like, I'm glad there wasn't like a Def Jam Fight for New York remake announcement or something like that. Or we would have spent 20 minutes just on that game.
That's a whole cultural phenomenon right there. You can't speed through that, man. One of those bad boys in 20 minutes.
For all that razzmatazz.
Oh man! So that completes our game time segment, and now we'll be moving into Check the Tech.
Indeed.
Do you want to take the first one or the second one?
Let's see. Where are we? What's the first one?
You take the second one's a bit more dense, and I also know your temperament towards Apple. So,
so you want me to take both?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So the face tag. Goodness. So what to say about it. All right, so a major debate is raging over on TikTok land. Even though this app is not based in TikTok, and I'll explain why. But there's a new social media app that allows facial recognition to find your friends. If you follow this channel for any time, or you have any inkling of privacy issues that you probably already
I already hate it.
Harvard freshman Yin-Yer Chu created the app that allows users to scan and also to play, being called face tag, and being a Harvard freshman, you can see the parallels there, and they're very aware of that when they named it what they did. So actually, wouldn't be surprised if we don't see some litigation on that, but that's another conversation. But the app will let users scan a picture of their friend, and if they are on the app already, they can be requested that way. While the app only has 100 users currently, the debate has raged on TikTok due to Chow's videos about the app over on TikTok, ergo prompting a lot of comments about and or stoking fears about privacy issues and how the app could be misused. Mm-hmm. So one thing that's been brought up a lot is about potential hacking on the app, but I at least want to assuage that one a little bit. But that's privacy regardless. Like anybody could get hacked and anybody's data could get out. So that's not necessarily. I mean, that should always be a concern, but that wouldn't be the one I would highlight.
Yeah, for me, it's like if somebody wants to track you down and steal your information or whatever, they're gonna do it. But as a nice cup of tea pointed out, it's flashback to the ethical spyglasses conversation. Sometimes there's some software that you can create that 99% of people are going to use responsibly, and there's the couple of bad actors who are going to use not responsibly. There is some softwares that you create that basically only have a bad utility, and a very small subset of people, maybe 100 during a test run or something, will use it responsibly, and then you release it to the general populace, and you're like, wow, this is a great way to stalk people, and it makes it way easier than if I was doing it otherwise.
Yeah, because people are already doing this.
Yeah,
people already do this on social media apps anyway. Oh.
Yeah, so, and at least make it hard. If you have to aggregate data to figure out my location. Also, pro tip: if you're posting stuff to what is it, Instagram or Twitter, whatever, make sure you turn off the location services on your photos so that it doesn't publish your latitude and longitude when you're doing that stuff.
Also, if it's something that you want to tag, maybe do it after you've left that place. If it's not so if you're visiting a country, post it after you've left the country. So
after you've gotten back, so people aren't like, oh, you ain't at home right now. Because you might not think that that's what people are doing, but the one bad actor who wants to take advantage of you is going to be more opportunistic than not. And if they see oh, all right, you in what country right now? It's that don't sound like you at home. So
yeah. So for folks that wonder, why did we talk about tech on this show?
It's nerd shit.
Yes, it is nerd shit, but I want to be ethical nerds. I want to be an ethical nerd. People which we'll get ready. I know we're getting ready to go into an Apple segment in which I'll praise them and kind of I want to give them a good praise where it's due, because there's some good things they actually did and there's some things that annoy me, but I want us to be able to make good ethical decisions. It's hard under capitalism. We can go have a whole longer conversation about that. We're not going to start that right now, but that's why we have these. That's why we bring this up, because we got to highlight. We're not going to get better at tech if we don't continue to have this conversation. We're just not. We can't put our head under the sand and just be like, oh, it's fine.
And part of it is, Kenny and I are both very technical people. He's very involved in the Apple market. I'm a computer science person, and operating ethically is critically important. But it's not just important for the people who are in it and understand it and whatnot. But in order for you, the listener, to understand if people are behaving in your best interest, you kind of need to understand a little bit of the conversation. So we try to bring that kind of stuff in. Like, what kind of stuff should you be paying attention to? What kind of stuff should you listen for? How long should your password be? All those kinds of topics.
Yeah. A nice cup of tea says making more things that cater to that normalizes that behavior. And regarding the problematic app, yes,
Yeah.
totally agree. All right, so
Free range grade A nerdery. Lord.
free range grade A nerd. I was gonna say to some of our listeners' surprise, this is not Kenny crapping on Apple segment. Because well, actually, okay, this one is all right, a little bit. So
little column A, little column B.
Yeah, because the new M1 Apple laptops are out. They are bona fide amazing. I really can't say anything negative against them. For gaming, yes, but if you're gaming on an Apple device, you've known this for a while, so I'm not really saying anything new there. You know that's a difficult experience. Not impossible. There are ways to enjoy gaming on Apple, but it's a little harder. Which leads me to a distinction I want to make. So Mark Gurman is hands down one of the best Apple scoop guys ever. He works for Bloomberg. We're gonna have thoughts about Bloomberg, but anyway. But Mark's great. Mark knows his Apple stuff. He's got his contacts. So when he says there's an Apple VR headset coming, I totally believe him. And I think for the VR experiences and for an Apple ecosystem of VR, this could be really great. But right now, the majority of VR products either exist on Steam, Viveport, or Oculus Store, which are lean heavy on PC. Or I guess you could also throw in the PSVR in there as well, because that actually is a really solid ecosystem. But still, a lot of those games, either Batman VR is ported, you can play it on Steam. There's a port of it on the PlayStation. So if I don't want people to get excited about an Apple VR headset and think, oh man, I'm gonna be able to run Steam. Oh, Steam VR is not gonna work on this. Oh, I can get access to Oculus stores. Now, granted. They could test that and it'd be fine and be ready to go by the time this headset, and I'll take back everything I said, because that would be amazing. An M1 chip and an Apple headset running VR.
Pretty fresh.
Holy mackerel. That would be amazing. It would blow the Oculus headset out of the water, probably destroy the Valve Index. It doesn't even have to run 8K in each eye, which is what has been reported, but that's really hard to do. I don't know if people realize that. That's really difficult to do. I don't care how good the M1 Mac chip is. That is still really hard to do. But 4K in each eye for VR, and if you're like, why does this matter? The higher definition you can get in each eye for VR can help make it a lot easier for people to throw on that headset and enjoy the experience. And I don't just mean in a, oh god, visual, no, just literally because VR.
And also like a nausea perspective. If you for folks who get motion sickness, those kinds of disparities between what you're looking at and what you would expect, what your brain expects, can cause all sorts of physical badness. But basically, I won't get into the science of it because we'll go down many rabbit holes. But basically, the higher the resolution is, the easier of a time that you'll have adjusting to the new world, so to speak.
Yeah. Jared called me a Cylon. Hold up. What? I will come back to that slander in a moment. Thank you, nice cup of tea. I've been very half and half on my Apple criticism applause, and you appreciate the circumspect view. Well, thank you. Apple VR headset for the creators could be really cool if they create their own marketplace within that, port some things over. I think it'd be really great. VR enthusiasts like myself have already been really excited about. The biggest cool thing about the Oculus is that I can play it through my computer as well if I wanted to. Gives you access to the Steam library. So I just don't see that happening well with Apple, but it doesn't mean they couldn't still create a really great headset. So I want to put some caveats with that. Some
Um,
let's see.
oh wait, are you going into the
Sorry.
next phase?
Yeah.
Cool. Let me jump in because I'm actually excited about that too. So Apple actually did good. So
Oh,
this
sorry, I
one
got the
this
wrong photo up. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
yeah.
Had it in the wrong order. Yeah.
Yeah. So per the Financial Times, their app tracking transparency policy led to a $10 billion loss across Snapchat, Facebook, who got dunked on the most, Twitter, and YouTube. If you recall, a couple, I guess, months ago at this point, Apple
The new
made
iOS update. Yeah.
with the new iOS update, Apple made it so that you have to opt in to letting apps track your data and do all that kinds of stuff, rather than opt out of the process. Making it an opt-in process meant that there were a lot of implicit informations that companies were gathering on tons and tons of people who use the app because, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, who's not using those, they're gathering all that information and you doing with it what they will to make dollar bills, y'all. But because they switched it over so that any app on their phones has to, if you want to share data, you have to opt into that process. Means that there's a lot less of that data going around because, as you might imagine, not a lot of people are opting into having their metadata used for not necessarily nefarious but profitable purposes, which led to $10 billion of revenue loss across all those applications. And it's not necessarily that, on one side I'm like, yeah, $10 billion. Stick it to them. But on the other side, putting the power back into the hands of the individual is the ethically right thing to do. And if people want to have their data shared and say, yeah, go ahead, sell my stuff and give me some better ads, then that's cool and let them do it. But most people clearly didn't care enough for that. So allowing them to say no, changing the position so that it says no by default, I think was the right move. So, big props to them.
Yeah. Gotta call it out when we see it. That was great. The number took me back.
Yeah, I was surprised.
I thought that can't be right, but other tech magazines and websites picked up on it. It's reported by the Financial Times, which is a very solid industry analyst magazine. Wow. Yeah, Facebook was the one that contested this the hardest, not wanting it to happen. I would be very curious. I really want to see the Android numbers because I know that's been a option for a bit, but it was not as I don't know if it I can't say it was as impactful as this was on Apple's part. So I'd really be curious to see, since that's been added, what did that do? But I don't know if it would hit this level of financial impact. So
yeah.
Hey, if you needed a metric for how powerful your data is, folks,
there you go.
Here it is.
$10 billion across 4 applications.
Yeah. And the one Apple dig. Sorry, we're just flipping through photos here, folks. Apple let go of Lightning.
Squish.
Thunderbolt's the stuff. Thunderbolt's amazing. I gave you praise on the M1 chip. The new Macs could push 4 Thunderbolt screens if you wanted to, 4 Thunderbolt monitors. Awesome. Lightning, get that out of here. Get that out of here.
Yeah.
And you might even be asking, but I haven't used an iPhone that uses that in a long time. No. But it's the Apple peripherals that for some reason still decide they need to use Lightning. And this is not us getting ready to just go into a Lightning rant. The European Union wants to standardize basically charging ports across a variety of small handheld devices, and they go into a large list of what those include, but that does hit Apple and a variety of devices, and wants to standardize it and make it USB-C. And USB-C for that is...
And there's a lot of reasons to do that. In a existence wherein it's becoming more and more clear how limited the resources we have on Earth are, making auxiliary tools for electronics that are different just for the sake of consumer memery like at a certain point it just becomes irresponsible, and you just need to pick there are, there's documentation that says ways that we can deliver power, and as long as it's like sufficient and serviceable and you can use it, at some point you just need to ride the train that everybody else is on.
Yeah. So yeah, this is just, it seems silly. I mean, and some of the arguments made have been, but this will stifle innovation. Like European Union said, hey, obviously if another standard comes by, it's like we will adjust just like we have for every other standard coming down the line. So I'm quite sure if we come up with something better than USB-C, or if we come up with a better standard for the cable, and most likely that's what it would be in the short term anyway, just an update to because USB 3. USB 4.0, whatever.
4.0, there you go.
Yeah, that will come down the pipe at some point, but it hopefully won't change the connector. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, good stuff. What's next? Here we go. So the way that the Sun reported this, they called it a blockage. It's not really a blockage, but essentially, users of WhatsApp may have found today that they can no longer connect to the app, and the problem is that your stuff's outdated and you gotta update.
Yeah.
Lost connection for a sec. There we go.
I was like, what's going on?
WhatsApp updated their application as of today, November 1st, and it will no longer be supporting a host of older phones and models. For Android users, you need to be running Android 4.1 or later. For iPhone users, need to be on iOS 10 or later. On the Android front, this means that a host of popular phones lose access, including like the Samsung Galaxy 3S and the Huawei Ascend Mate. For Apple, you'll lose access on anything that's the iPhone 4 or older.
Whoa.
Did I?
The Galaxy 3S?
Yep.
Wow.
I
might have that somewhere around here. Somewhere,
I'm sure we have a drawer of them.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
And I want to be clear. We should be using more used phones. So I'm not picking on anyone that needs to use a used. I'm not trying to belittle you if you're using a used phone. And honestly, that might be something we need to figure out as far as like how to extend the longevity from a security standpoint on certain phones. But at some point,
part of that is stopping companies from doing planned obsolescence. Which is the thing that has been proven that we know that they're doing. If you don't know what that means, it's like, oh man, whenever the iPhone N+1 comes out, my iPhone N suddenly starts running all slow. The apps don't work so good. Google can't seem to find my GPS location. I feel like it's time to upgrade. No, it's actually just the company forcing your phone to run worse behind the scenes so that you will buy a new phone.
Yeah.
It's like, Nothing's bad. Your stuff is still just as serviceable as it was when it started, but the company it's now current year +1, and the company wants to have money.
Yeah, it's environmentally irresponsible for like a number of reasons.
100%.
Like I was upset. I was watching a football game yesterday. And that T-Mobile iPhone Forever commercial kept coming up over and over and over again. And I just kept getting angry and angrier. I'm like, you don't need to swap out your iPhone every year. Gosh.
Kenny, don't you know that iPhones are the new Madden? Yes, you do.
This is another thing. That's a waste of plastic. Don't get me started.
It's digital downloads now. It's fine.
As I...
And the past 4 Madden games have been almost made from 98% recycled materials anyway. So it's like the most economic game.
Sherry says, "There's the non-silent Kenny we all know and love." Yeah, that's fair. All right, before we get to our final main topic, the one we teased about Nintendo fans might be right. We'll explain what we mean in a moment. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. So we got a lot of folks on tonight. So thank you all for commenting and chatting with us. Regardless of what platform you're on, if you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, we can see you. We love your comments. We love chatting with you during the show. So definitely keep that up. Except for that one weird comment. Don't Like, be respectful, folks. Be respectful in the chat. Press F for respect in the chat.
Can I get a F?
Can I get a? All right, our last topic is what we teased to start the show, and so context. Last week, or I guess actually this has been a running thing for 2 weeks. Actually,
I think it's 2 weeks. Yeah,
because there's the N64 and Sega game announcement that happened about the Nintendo Switch Online, and that's really cool. It's like finally we're gonna get some N64 games on the Nintendo service. And Sega games, there's a new N64 controller coming out that you can use on the Switch along with a Sega controller. Although I don't know why it's not the 6-button one, but neither here nor there. And things seemed generally great in the house of Nintendo. You had Metroid Dread, you got a new OLED Nintendo Switch. Things are going great.
I mean, I don't know if OLED Nintendo Switch is super great. It's certainly neat.
Hey, I got to play on it. I think it's rather nice. But it's not like, it's not earth-shattering good. It's not like we got the, anyway, 4K Switch.
Yeah.
Switch Pro, which you're right, you're right. It's fine, we didn't get it.
Yeah. That's what I was fishing for.
That's what you really wanted me to say and admit to. Fine. We didn't get a 4K Switch. Although, honestly, now the more I think about it, a 4K Switch is silly. I know, but come at me in the comments, Nintendo fans, but it actually, it's okay. We'll be all right. Anyway, and then we got, or in the same trailer as things got announced, there was news about the price hike. Nintendo Switch Online was going to cost more yearly. And naturally, on this broadcast, and I think me and Steve still agree on this point.
We do.
Really? It's not $50 per month. It's going to be $50 a year. A year! PlayStation Plus Online and Xbox All Access or Xbox Game Pass or your Xbox Live subscription all cost more monthly and but for the entire year.
Yes.
So I was like, we have what is going on? And
fans are quick to be like, oh, and the online sucks, and it's like, yeah, but it's $50. It's what is it? The online sucks, and it's $20 for the whole year. And now they're expanding the things that they offer, and it's $50 for the whole year. Like, if you're upset that it sucks, like I'm like, do you want to pay $20 a month? And like you're using the online capabilities like that much? Like, oh man, I just can't wait to play Mario Kart 8 online. Come on.
But I do want to at least give one caveat to that, as more and more users are reporting issues playing N64 games, particularly input lag. So there is some lag with the service regardless, right? And me and Steve were talking before the show started about we're not the best judges of that because I've got gigabit up and down over here. So it would like the servers have to be really trash for me to notice an issue like that, and I haven't noticed anything quite like that. So
same seats. I listen to Kenny. Like I live in the place where I was about to say Capcom. Where,
hey, that'd be cool.
Comcast HQ is. So it's like I'm 100 up, 100 down. If there's a problem, I can like throw a rock out of my window and be like, "Hey, fix my internet," and they're right there. So.
But I would at least say for the Nintendo fans that are experiencing a bad service playing N64 games, that would be legit. The disliking the trailer down to be the most disliked YouTube trailer, come on, that's childish.
That don't matter.
Yeah, Nintendo doesn't.
It's like it's not like anybody's gonna be like, oh, like the what's it called? Like the stock market's like, oh man, that YouTube video is not looking so good. Like, come on, man. Like that's not gonna do anything. If anything, Nintendo like writes out surveys and stuff like that. Me and my friend got one when Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles came out, and we were like, I have words about how high garbage this game is. You ruined the port, and you were gonna find out about it.
That port. Yeah,
it was
trash.
It was a very huge disappointment. They really bungled it. But they send out that kind of stuff and they take your feedback, and so like if you're upsetty spaghetti, then just let them know. Go on Twitter, shoot them a message or something like that. The YouTube section is not the place to voice your grievances and get resolved.
Yeah. I will say, I have been advocating for this for a while. Nintendo, pick up the phone, call Google, and buy Stadia. Because it's sitting right there. Or make a partnership with...
collecting dust.
Yeah, it's just... or partner with Google and let them host the servers, because they could definitely do a better job than you. And that is a slight. And I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean. It's just it's the honest truth. And you could, and again, it wouldn't be overnight fix, but it'd be well on the way to having a lot better online service. I don't know what's going on over there in regards to why it's so poor. Maybe somebody, hey, if you're a Nintendo employee and you want to talk to me off the record, shoot us a message in the email, and so on and so, and we'll respect your confidentiality. And I'm being honest. I know we're laughing, but I'm being honest. Do you want to talk about it? Yeah, we will definitely report on that. But it's driving me nuts to see them.
He sends them like a photo, and it's like, yo, this is our online server, and it's just like a room full of hamsters on wheels. And it's the reason that the servers always go down is because if the guy forgets to feed the hamsters always go on strike. So
it'd be like that one DJ photo. It'd be like that one DJ photo that circulates around. That's just looks like a wired, like a fire hazard death trap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just that.
Oh man, a nice cup of tea says, man. I just don't need the subscription for anything but Animal Crossing Island visits. There you go.
Yeah.
And
right.
There's some new Horizon expansion. Yeah.
And there's a new updates coming out. My friends and I this past weekend we're playing Animal Crossing, and all of us haven't played in a year and a half. And every time we hit a button, our Switch is like, "Yo, dog, it's a update out. You wanna download? You want to download that update?" And it's like, I'm in the middle of PA. There ain't no internet out here. Get that out of my face.
Yeah.
Oh man,
right. That is the show. I did not have a throwback ready.
And that's the way the news goes.
It's the way the news goes. Is that gonna be your sign out now?
I don't know. I'll scroll through the rest of that Rick and Morty episode and I'll steal another catchphrase. Grass tastes bad. I don't know. Throwback. I hadn't thought about it.
Well, think about that, and I'll plug the things happening the rest of the week.
There you go.
Again, thank you all for joining us this week. Make sure to smash that subscribe button, and we'll talk about what's happening this week on Nerd Union. There's no Red Shirt Rejects. Tomorrow, though, we got our movie podcast of me and Major Tom on the Commander Ship Show. So we'll give you all your movie and TV updates Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central. Taryn Bell does the rundown every weekend. So that gets released as our pre-recorded show. But anything that we missed throughout the week, or just breaking news updates, Terrence got us covered. So that happens. Usually drops Friday afternoon, Friday night. And then what are we doing?
The Quorum on Thursday?
Yes. Thursday night is
Cowboys Bebop's Kebab episodes 4 through 11.
So it will be 12, 13, 14, 15.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my bad.
Sorry. Yeah, that was not updated up. It's not your fault. So
it's all good.
Yeah. If you want to check that out, our Discord link is on Facebook. We can also drop it in here, but you can come and chat with us there. If you don't want to show your face, you don't have to, but you can also come on the voice chat and video chat and talk with us as we go through Cowboy Bebop.
Or just put your video on and just put your mask on.
Yeah. There you go. Hey, you can do that. And remember, that's the animated. We're doing that so we can get prepared for the Netflix one and talk about that on the Quorum as well. And I'll also extend on through to Hawkeye as well.
Nice.
All right. Did you have a chance to think of a throwback?
I did. So the way my brain is a labyrinth, so I scrolled through my mental log of good video game music, and I immediately started at Killer Instinct for the top of the list. Great Super Nintendo game, really fun fighting game, iconic combo system, but also the soundtrack to OG Killer Instinct, which I have a cassette of, slaps. That soundtrack is so good. And from what I understand, the remake of Killer Instinct, which is on the I think it's on the 360 and the other Xbox as well. Is also really good. There's essentially an in-goodening video of Killer Instinct, or I think it's a What Happened video done by Matt McMuscles on YouTube. Whom, if you haven't watched, he does a lot of really funny and really engaging content where he talks about what happened during a video game's development cycle that led it to be bonkers. But from what I understand, the Killer Instinct remake is really solid, has a solid following, fighting game community and all that stuff. And the soundtrack slaps. So my throwbacks
and
for
a lot of character support for that. Got that on my Xbox One.
The Ninja Turtles are in it, I think.
Yeah, they
or no, it's not Ninja Turtles. It's Battletoads.
Battletoads. Yeah, something with some genetically mutated creatures, something like that.
I was asymptotically approaching the right thing. Mm-hmm. What about for you? You got a throwback?
I also was not quite prepared. But this doesn't go back too far. John Wick Hex that came out. I think it was about 2 years ago. It was probably I can't keep track of time. It was about a year ago. For folks that are not aware, again, you've watched John Wick the movies. He's shooting, going around town. So you probably think, oh yeah, this is gonna be some kind of shoot 'em up game.
Mm-hmm.
Not how the game plays. It's very much situational and it's kind of like tile-based interactions between you or any target that you go to. It's a really cool, innovative way to go about and play the game. So I really enjoy it for that. Had set it again. Hey, I set things on my shelf and I forget about them. So
yeah,
and set it down for a bit, forgot about it, and I picked it back up this past weekend and had a really good time with it. So again, not too far back, but. Really nice game, available on your PS4, I believe the Nintendo Switch as well, and on PC.
You know, as you were describing that, I will have a throwback for next week that I actually need to go home and look at, because long ago there was a really cool twin stick fighting game for the PlayStation 2, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was like Jet Li's something. That was really cool, and I gotta dig it up because it's somewhere in my collection. On a shelf somewhere.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
But that one's a really cool game. Like I haven't played a lot of twin stick fighting games, wherein
Rise
like
of
you
Honor?
move around.
Jet Li's Rise of Honor. Maybe?
That sounds right.
That's gonna drive me nuts. Sorry, if you need to look at your shelf.
Yeah, I'll have to go home and like look at it, or to call my mom or something. Be like, Mom, look through my video game collection. Tell me what's there. But it's a really interesting game. I'll have to go home and play it or something, and then I'll be able to talk about it next week. But you just reminded me of it, so I'm putting it on the notes for next time. Yeah.
Some of y'all have seen Ace Trainer Jerry in the chat. He's our wonderful editor for the State of Nerd Union videos. So. If you came in late for any segment, the live versions of these will always be on whichever platform you're watching it on, so you can go back immediately once this is over and watch a rewind of that. But if you like shorter videos or just want to see the game segment or just want to see the movie segment, whichever one, Jerry posts those for us, and we appreciate him for that. So, and if you really like that and you want to share that video, that's also appreciated. So, all right. That has been it for a State and Nerd Union. I am Commander Ship.
I am just Steve.
You should really update your name to the title.
I guess I'm technically Grandmaster Fro Fox. I guess it still applies.
Come on.
Even though I'm not a Grandmaster anymore.
Oh.
Just Fro Fox. I don't do the Star Wars stuff anymore.
Yeah. All right, then I'll do Fro Fox. Yeah, I'll do that.
There you go.
Cool. All right. Hey. We'll see you throughout the rest of the week on Nerd Union, and we'll see you next Monday for State of Nerd Union. Bye, folks.
Peace.